Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mr. March. We are going to break down Act 1, Scene 2 of A Midsummer Night's Dream today. So, where we left off, I told you that we would meet the workers, and essentially that this is a group of idiots. There's not really a nice way to say it. They are essentially buffoons. There was a whole class thing hundreds of years ago, and we still have one today, but it was like a very significant, rigid, and structured class system. And if you were working class, you didn't read books, you weren't doing theater. So these guys getting together for the express purpose of putting on a play at the Duke's wedding, like, these aren't theater kids, and they're going to be really, really bad at this. So there's 6 guys, and they're named Nick Bottom, Peter Quince, Francis Flute, Tom Snout, Snug, and Robin Starveling, are Nick Bottom and Peter Quince. And essentially their relationship is built on like super petty power grabs within this group. They both want to be in charge. Like, on paper, Quince is in charge of everything. He's the one directing the play and giving everyone their parts, and everyone, like, he wants to one up every single idea that Quince ever has. So a majority watching the 6 of these guys is seeing Bottom and Quince kind of go at it back and forth. The first 30 lines or so of Act 1, Scene 2, you see Quince directing the people, right? Is our company all? And his second line, he says, "Here is the scroll of every man's name, which is thought fit through all Athens to play in our interlude before the Duke and Duchess." And Bottom interrupts him again. Third time, he says, "Okay, our play is the most lamentable comedy and most cruel death of Pyramus and Thisbe." And then Bottom interrupts him a third time. It's kind of like, I guess Bottom gets very frustrating very quickly. Like, he's kind of got that annoying kid brother vibe. But another way to look at it is, I don't know if you've ever done this where you're trying to figure out where to go to dinner, and you suggest something, and your girlfriend says no. And then you suggest a second restaurant and a third restaurant and a fourth restaurant, and your girlfriend says no, but she doesn't suggest a different place on her own. She just keeps telling you why your suggestions are wrong. It's kind of like that. I was trying to bait my girlfriend into calling me stupid, and it worked. I don't know if that caught on the mic, but she called me stupid. You guys heard it here. She's bullying me, and that is the nature of our relationship. She said, "You're such a stupid man." So, just for future reference in life, don't put up with this kind of abuse in your relationship. It's unhealthy and unacceptable. Oh my. All right. So, just so you kind of get that sense, he's got that kid brother vibe. He's got that, that whoever is in your life that just won't actually pick a place for dinner, but they shoot every idea down. It's that type of vibe from Bottom. Here's the other thing about Bottom. Bottom kind of has also this thing where he thinks that he should do every role in the play. So they're like, "All right, Bottom, you're going to be Pyramus." That's the main character. Pyramus and Thisbe is kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type deal. So Pyramus would be like the Romeo, right? He's going to be the emo teenage boy who falls in love and ends up accidentally killing himself. Great. And Bottom's like, he's like, it's almost, I hate to do it because, like, you don't want to put anything into a political sphere, but it's almost kind of Trumpy, where it's kind of like, "It's going to be tremendous. I'm going to be the best Pyramus that ever was. No Pyramus would ever be compared to me. I'm going to do it bigly, and everybody's going to cry, and it's going to be tremendous." And it's kind of that thing, and you don't notice it at first, but you definitely notice it when he starts trying to steal other people's parts in the play. So Bottom's got this whole thing about how he's going to do the best, and he's going to make everybody cry, and, he can rhyme with the best of them. And then Quince kind of starts going through the rest of the people. He's like, "Hey, here's your job." And again, the other 4 people don't matter so much, but there's just 2 funny moments where Francis Flute is supposed to play the Juliet character, and super common back then for guys to play girls in plays. Again, speaking to really just the fundamental sexist nature of society. Women weren't allowed to perform in plays, even women's roles. Hey, what a crazy concept. So, Francis Flute's like, oh, I don't want to play a girl. I got my beard coming in. And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. You're going to put on a mask. It'll be cool. And then there's this dude, Snug, and Snug gets assigned the part of the lion. And Snug is so stupid. This is really a great Shakespeare joke. And he says, have you the lion's part written? Pray you, if it be, give it to me, for I am slow of study. Right? Like, Snug is A, so dumb that he doesn't realize that playing the part of a lion, he will not have a speaking part. And B is so scared of not being able to memorize his lines that he wants them right away. But also, Bottom jumps in again there, and he's just like, I would do the best lion. It would scare everybody. And they're like, well, you don't want to scare the ladies. They might kill us then. You can't scare them too much. He's like, I wouldn't scare them that much. I would scare them just enough, and then I would let them know it was me, and so it would be good. And Quince kind of gets annoyed with this over a while. He's like, no, dude, you're nothing but Pyramus. You're just Pyramus. Stop trying to take everybody's roles. Just whatever. And Bottom's like, all right, fine, but what color beard should I wear? And Quince is like, who cares? And Bottom's like, well, I got a straw-colored beard, I got an orange beard, I got a purple beard, I got a French crown-color beard. All these would be good. And Quince is like, yeah, great, whatever. I mean, who cares? And he gives out the rest of the parts, and Quince says, tomorrow night we're going to meet out in the woods at midnight to perform because we don't want the townspeople knowing what we're up to. And if we remember from 1.1, we have 4 lovers that are probably going to be meeting in the woods at midnight tomorrow night. What could possibly go wrong? And there's this last thing at the end where Bottom kind of does another petty thing where right after Quince is like, all right, guys, sounds good. Everybody has their parts. Go home and study. We'll meet tomorrow night. Bottom's like, yeah, tomorrow, study. We're going to rehearse. It's like, wait, he just said that. All right, it's this real pettiness that speaks to the name Bottom for a character, which is really one of Shakespeare's great heavy dives into literary devices, but this one's worth just a stop and look. And this literary device is the pun. A pun is a joke exploiting the different possible meanings of a word, or the fact that there are words which sound alike but have different meanings. The name Bottom itself, right? Like, it implies someone that is at the bottom, the worst. In a power dynamic like we have here, someone who is the bottom is the person who does not have control, and we absolutely see that, where Quince is kind of in control, but Bottom keeps trying to take it from him. And then, the most entertaining, and I'm going to give you a little bit of foreshadowing here, the most entertaining aspect of looking at the pun of Bottom is that a bottom is a butt or an ass. I said it. Maybe I shouldn't have said it, but you'll see very soon exactly why I did. Now, last thing before we go, because I think it's kind of entertaining, is that there's a few varieties of puns. What you most commonly would think of would be the dad joke. And the dad joke variety, a couple examples. How do construction workers party? They raise the roof. I've been to the dentist so many times, I know the drill. It's kind of one of those things that's so cringy where you want to walk into traffic so you don't have to hear it anymore. But that's not the only kind. There's 2 really popular newspapers over the past 15 years. They're like satire newspapers, and they're called The Onion and the Babylon Bee. A couple of those from that variety. It's just longer word plays that can be a bit more entertaining. New study of obesity looks for larger test group. Larger. Safety experts say school bus passengers should be belted. Take a minute, let that sit in. My all-time favorite is from 2008, which, depending on when you're listening to this, you probably weren't born. But it was when Barack Obama was first running for president, and his campaign slogans were hope and change. And so the Onion ran an article that said for change. And they run full 4,000 strangers down, made repeated demands. So puns can kind of be longer and drawn. Even though you might think of them as dad jokes, some of them are actually really good. And I would argue that even though it's 400 years ago, Shakespeare's pun with bottom is actually really well played and stands up over time. And just one last sales pitch, in case you're like, puns are the worst, they're all dad jokes. Even the comedic greats use puns. One of the all-time greats, maybe my all-time favorite comedian, George Carlin, had one that said, atheism is a non-profit institution. So there's a little bit of a dive into one poetic device, and that is a quick synopsis of Act 1, Scene 2 in A Midsummer Night's Dream. We'll come back next time for Act 2, Scene 1, where we get to meet some magic fairies who happen to live in the forest, and a husband and wife beefing over a child. What could be better? All right, till next time.